I gave it to Ashley. She deserves it more than you. Margaret's voice oozed with smugness through the phone. After all, she's my real daughter. My hand quivered as I stared at the empty jewelry box. The soft velvet lining where my grandmother's vintage sapphire ring had rested for 5 years now vacant. I'm Victoria Bennett, 32, and my mother-in-law just crossed a line that can never be uncrossed. You went into my bedroom and took my grandmother's ring, I said, fighting to keep my voice even despite the rage bubbling inside me. That ring is worth $250,000, Margaret. It's not yours to give away. Oh, please, she snorted. Your grandmother's ring? We both know James bought that for you. And since he's my son, I have every right to give family treasures to my daughter. Ashley's wedding is in 3 months, and she deserves something meaningful. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, counting to 10. Margaret had never truly accepted me, not after 7 years of marriage to her beloved son, James. To her, I was the gold-digging woman who stole her son from the life she envisioned. She never missed a chance to remind me that Ashley, my sister-in-law, was far more deserving of being part of their family. What Margaret didn't know, what only James and I knew, was that the ring had belonged to my grandmother. It was her most cherished possession, a rare Celine sapphire passed down through generations. She'd given it to me on her deathbed, making me promise to keep it within the family. Margaret, that ring has a certificate of authenticity and a well-documented history. It's not just some trinket, it's my family's legacy. I tried to reason, though I knew it was futile. She laughed, a cold sound over the phone. Legacy? Your family? Don't make me laugh, Victoria. Everyone knows your family was nothing until James came along. Besides, Ashley already took it to Caracal's to get it resized. There's nothing you can do now. My stomach dropped. Caracal, the exclusive jeweler where my grandmother had kept her collection for decades, where Mr. Caracal himself had personally documented the ring's history and knew every detail about it. You sent Ashley to Caracal? I couldn't help but smile, knowing Margaret couldn't see it. Of course, only the best for my daughter. She's there now, getting it fitted. Unlike you, she has delicate hands that deserve such a beautiful piece. I glanced at the time, 2:15 p.m. Mr. Caracal would be in the shop now, meeting clients. Thanks for letting me know, Margaret. You've been most helpful. What do you mean by? I hung up before she could finish. My hands were steady now as I dialed Caracal's number. The receptionist recognized my name immediately. Being the granddaughter of one of their most valued clients had its advantages. Mrs. Bennett, Mr. Caracal was just about to call you. He's with a young woman who says she's your sister-in-law, talking about the Celine sapphire. Yes, I'm Amanda. Could you please connect me to him? It's urgent. A moment later, Mr. Caracal's warm voice filled the line. Victoria, my dear, I have quite the situation here. I know, Mr. Caracal. My mother-in-law took the ring from my jewelry box and gave it to her daughter. She's trying to pass it off as a family heirloom from their side. Ah, he said, understanding evident in his voice. That explains the young lady's confusion when I asked her about the certificate of authenticity and the ring's history. She's adamant it belongs to her family, but, of course, I have all the proper documentation of provenance right here. In the background, I could hear Ashley's voice rising in protest. Would you like me to explain the ring's true history to them? Mr. Caracal offered, his voice professional but with a touch of satisfaction. He'd known my grandmother for 40 years and valued integrity in fine jewelry. Yes, please, and Mr. Caracal, my husband should be arriving in about 10 minutes. He was closer when I called him. Perfect. I'm confident this will be resolved once he arrives. I hung up, sinking into my chair, the adrenaline rushing through me. 7 years of Margaret's subtle slights, constant efforts to undermine my marriage, her favoritism toward Ashley, it had all led to this. My phone buzzed with a text from James. Almost there. Mom's blowing up my phone. Did she really break into our bedroom? I replied simply, yes, Mr. Caracal has the security footage from Grandma's last visit when she documented the ring's transfer to me. James's reply came quickly, time for Mom to face the music. I smiled, imagining Margaret's face when she realized how thoroughly her plan had backfired. The ring wasn't just valuable, it was documented, certified, and legally mine. More importantly, her actions had pushed James past his breaking point. My phone rang again, Margaret's number. I let it go to voicemail. The real show was about to unfold at Caracal. Sometimes, the best form of revenge is letting people's own actions expose their true colors. The events at Caracal played out exactly as I anticipated. James called me during his drive home, his voice tight with barely contained anger. "You should have seen Mom's face when she stormed into the shop," he said. She was all righteous indignation, demanding to know why Ashley was being questioned about the ring's authenticity. Then Mr. Caracal pulled out the certified papers. I could picture it perfectly. How did she react? At first, she tried claiming the ring couldn't be a real family heirloom, that your grandmother must have bought it recently. That's when Mr. Caracal played the security footage from 5 years ago. I grinned, recalling the day. My grandmother, elegant even in her final months, had insisted on documenting the ring's transfer. "The documentation is key, Victoria," she'd said. "Fine jewelry comes with great responsibility." "Then what happened?" I asked, though I already knew. Mr. Caracal showed them the complete history of the ring, photos, certificates, insurance documents, everything. Mom started to deflate, but Ashley lost it. She started crying, saying her wedding was ruined and how I always chose you over family. "And what did you say?" There was a pause, and I could hear the weight in James's voice. "I told them both that you're my family, and that breaking into our bedroom and stealing your inheritance was unforgivable." Mom tried to say she was just trying to be fair, giving Ashley something special. Let me guess, she didn't see anything wrong with taking it? "Oh, it gets better," James said, his voice bitter. "She actually said, it's not stealing if it's family." That's when Mr. Caracal mentioned that he was legally required to report jewelry theft over $100,000. I sat up straighter. He really said that? He did, he explained, very politely, that while he preferred to handle it privately, he had ethical duties as a certified jeweler. Mom's face went pale so fast, I thought she'd pass out. James continued, "It was satisfying, but I still felt a bit uneasy." "How did Ashley take it?" "She handed over the ring immediately, suddenly very eager to be removed from the situation. She claimed she had no idea it was actually your grandmother's, that Mom had told her it was a piece from James." That tracked with what I knew of Ashley. She was spoiled and entitled, but not malicious. That was all Margaret. The best part, James added, was when Mr. Caracal brought out a second set of documents, photos of Mom's engagement ring, the one she sold 20 years ago. Turns out that was the true family heirloom she should have been worried about. I gasped. "What?" "Yeah, apparently she sold my grandmother's engagement ring when Dad was sick. Never told anyone. She's been wearing a replica all these years, pretending it was the original. Mr. Caracal recognized it as soon as she came in today because he'd handled the sale." The irony was almost too perfect. Margaret, who'd spent years accusing me of being a gold digger, had secretly sold her own family's heirloom. How did Ashley react? She left. Just grabbed her purse and walked out. Mom tried to follow, but Ashley told her to stay away. I think the ring was the last straw. I could hear the pain in James's voice. Despite their issues, it was still his family falling apart. "I'm sorry it came to this," I said softly. "Don't be. Mom's been pushing boundaries for years. She needed to face consequences eventually." He paused. "Mr. Caracal's keeping the ring in the vault for now. He suggested having it professionally cleaned and inspected." "Good idea," I said, twisting my wedding band. "What happens now?" "Now? Mom has to deal with the fact that everyone knows what she did, both today and 20 years ago. Dad's going to be devastated. And Ashley, she'll have to find something else to wear at her wedding." After we hung up, I sat alone in our quiet house, processing everything. Margaret had overplayed her hand, and now the consequences were spreading. Years of lies and manipulation were unraveling, all because she couldn't resist one final power grab. My phone buzzed with a text from Ashley. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was your grandmother's ring." Mom said, "Well, it doesn't matter what she said." I should have asked James directly. I stared at the message, considering my response. Ashley had been cruel over the years, but always following Margaret's lead. Maybe this was a chance for change. "Would you like to have coffee tomorrow?" "Just us," I texted back. Her response was immediate. "Yes, please. There's a lot I need to say." Another message popped up. This one from Margaret. I almost ignored it, but curiosity won out. Inside was a single line. I was only trying to make things right for my daughter. I thought of my grandmother, her insistence on doing things right, on knowing what mattered, on protecting what was valuable. I looked at Margaret's message again and typed, "No. You were trying to take something that didn't belong to you. The consequences are yours to bear." Then I blocked her number and stood up to make dinner. James would be home soon, and we had a lot to talk about. 3 months later, I sat in a small cafe, waiting for Ashley. Today was supposed to be her wedding day, but she had postponed it indefinitely after everything with Margaret. The door chimed, and Ashley walked in. She looked different, her usual polished appearance replaced by a casual ponytail and minimal makeup. "Thanks for meeting me," she said, sliding into the seat across from me. "Especially today. How are you holding up?" I asked. She gave a small laugh. "Better than I expected. Tom and I are still together, but we're taking things slower. Turns out the rush to get married was more about Mom's pressure than what we wanted." The waiter brought our coffees, and we sat in comfortable silence for a moment. "The past few months have changed a lot," Ashley said suddenly. "Dad's selling the house. After finding out about Grandma's ring, he started digging into their finances. Turns out Mom's been hiding more than just jewelry sales." I nodded. James had told me about the hidden credit cards, gambling debts, and drained retirement accounts. Margaret's theft had opened a Pandora's box of deceit. "How's your dad doing?" "Better, now that he's taken control. He's staying with Uncle Mike while the divorce goes through." She stirred her coffee absently. "Mom's not handling it well. She keeps saying everyone's abandoned her, that she was just trying to give me the wedding she never had." "And what do you think about that?" Ashley met my eyes. "I think she's been lying to herself for so long, she doesn't know how to stop. The ring was the final straw. Finding out she'd sold Grandma's engagement ring." She shook her head. "That changed everything for Dad." I thought about James's father, a quiet man overshadowed by Margaret's dominance. Learning about the sale of his mother's ring had awakened something in him. "Have you heard from her lately?" I asked. "She's staying with her sister in Florida. Sends me daily texts about how we're all going to regret treating her this way." Ashley sighed. "The funny thing is, postponing the wedding was the best thing that could have happened. Tom and I are actually talking about what we want, not what Mom thinks we should have." The cafe was filling with a lunch crowd, but it felt like the world outside had faded. "Victoria," Ashley said, her voice serious. "I really am sorry. Not just about the ring, but for everything. The way I treated you. The things I said. I was following Mom's lead, but that's no excuse." "Thank you," I said simply. "That means a lot." She reached into her bag and pulled out a small box. "I found this when we were cleaning out the house. I think you should have it." Inside was a worn velvet jewelry box. When I opened it, I found old photographs of my grandmother, always wearing the sapphire ring. Mom must have taken these when she took the ring. There's a letter too. "From your grandmother." My hands trembled slightly as I unfolded the yellowed paper. My grandmother's elegant handwriting filled the page, detailing the ring's history, its legacy, and the strength of the women who'd worn it. "Keep these safe for me," Ashley said softly. "Maybe someday you'll share them with your daughter." When I got home, James was in the kitchen making dinner. The ring, now cleaned and secured, sat in its new home, a wall safe we'd installed after the incident. "How was coffee with Ashley?" he asked. "Good. Really good, actually. She's changed a lot since everything happened." I showed him the box of photographs. He looked through them carefully. "Mom tried to erase your family's history. But in the end, she exposed her own lies. Sometimes, people's worst actions bring out the best in others," I said, thinking of how this crisis had strengthened some family bonds and broken others. James pulled me close. "Mom called again today. Left a voicemail saying she's changed, that she wants to make amends. And what do you think? I think actions speak louder than words. She's had years to choose differently. To treat you with respect. One crisis doesn't change who she is." I nodded and leaned into his embrace. The ring was more than jewelry. It had become a catalyst for truth, bringing long-buried secrets to the surface. Your grandmother would be proud, James said, kissing my forehead. Not just of how you protected the ring, but of how you handled everything after. Looking at the photographs spread across our kitchen counter, I saw generations of women who had worn the sapphire ring, each adding their own story to its legacy. Margaret had tried to steal that history, but in doing so, she had only proved why she was never meant to be part of it. Sometimes the most valuable things we inherit aren't the ones that can be stolen. They are strength, wisdom, and grace, passed down through generations. No one could take that away. Not even Margaret. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.